huge crowd on hand. It's a beautiful afternoon.
Oh my, back's about to break.
Here they come down to the line at the Pocono Raceway.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Go, go, go. Nice job, everybody. Winning a horse.
Trouble in the tunnel, turn rams the outside wall.
Stay focused.
A lot of racing left, no worries. Don't push too hard.
Deep breath, guys. Nice and smooth stop here. That's the best drivers, the best car, and the best picker. One more timing.
A bunch of happy crewmen, the happy driver.
Good job, guys. Try to go.
Deep in the Pennsylvania Pines sits a truly one-of-a-kind racetrack. The Tricky Triangle hosts 500 miles of unpredictable racing today. It's the Pocono 500, the first of 2 trips to Long Pond. But last week, it was Jimmy Johnson and Tony Stewart battling on the high banks of Dover, and Jimmy got his second win of the season, but Tony Stewart got the points lead. But the smoke spun in practice, and we'll have to start shotgun on the field. It'll be fun watching him come from the back. Now only 64 points separate Stewart over the second and third place drivers. But the big news today, double file restarts, shootout style. Get set for a long afternoon in Long Pond. It's race day, Pocono. What a crowd we have out here today under blue, sunny skies in the big Tricky Triangle in Long Pond, Pennsylvania. Welcome, everybody. I'm John Roberts, and this is NASCAR Race Day, built by the Home Depot, alongside of driver number 28 of the Border Patrol Chevy, Kenny Wallace. Stayed up late last night, got here to join us today, and this is a home event for Berwick, Pennsylvania's senior excitement, Jimmy Spencer.
Thanks, Johnny. Let me tell you what, it's so special to be back at Pocono, Pennsylvania. Grew up 30 minutes down the road, baby. The northeast portion of the great United States, the most beautiful part of the country. And we're at one of the most treacherous racetracks the drivers will face. But most of all, we're home of the champion Pittsburgh Steelers and the Philadelphia Phillies! Yeah, baby!
Now, Kenny Wallace, we understand something strange happened to you this weekend.
Oh, I got to stand up for this. This is big, race fans. 2 days ago, right here on Speed, my friend Michael Waltrip did something dirty to me. He showed the whole United States my cell phone number. Now, I'm not going to take this. Look at this, race fans. You're watching it right now.
Oh, my God, that's your number, Kenny.
Michael Waltrip.
By the way, it doesn't work anymore.
Michael Waltrip showed my phone number. And, I mean, this is serious. Now, I'm not going to take this standing up, so I'll sit down right now. But I got to tell you something. This cost me millions of dollars. Business
Millions?
people. Oh, millions.
Millions.
Cost me millions of dollars. You know why? Because my friends at Jegs, my friends at Speed, all my corporate people, they can't get a hold of me now. So Michael Waltrip, as promised on my Facebook, I wrote yesterday, I will give your numbers out.
No.
I'm going to give a cell phone number out.
Kenny, don't do this.
No, I'm going to do it.
No, Kenny, don't. No. No.
Do you want to hear Michael Waltrip's you want to see his cell phone
Kenny,
number?
no.
Get your pens.
Oh.
I want you to get on Michael Waltrip's Twitter account, and I want you to blow it up for me. I had to get a new cell phone number, and I do want to put a little props into Sprint. They had me a new cell phone number in 2 hours, but I got to tell you, my little nephew, Stephen Wallace, and me, we were having fun. We were answering the phone, Mooresville Police Department, Domino's Pizza. I want to thank all you fans. Thank all you fans for
Now Twitter, Michael
blowing
Waltrip.
my phone up. Thank you.
All right, baby.
So, okay, the good part is Kenny made it through that ordeal on Friday.
Wow.
And now it's time to get down to where the rubber hits the road, and that's the garage area. As we find out exactly what's going on, we're going to check in for the first time with Wendy Venturini. Wendy, good morning.
Good morning, gentlemen. Yeah, that was a fun weekend for Kenny Wallace, I'm sure. Now, rule change has taken effect here at Pocono. That town forum they held with the drivers, car owners, and crew chiefs. Well, NASCAR has made a rule change. We now have double file restarts, shootout style here in Pocono. And what does that mean? That means the race leader now has the option to start on the inside lane as the race leader on a restart, or the outside lane. So a little bit different style. What else is different? Well, of course, this stems from that all-star format that we've been using. The odd position guys, they're gonna start in the inside lane. The even-numbered guys, they're gonna start, even-numbered positions will start on the outside lane. That free pass, it will remain in effect the entire race. And guess what, race fans? You could expect to see this format take place in the Nationwide and Camping World Truck Series. The bottom line, these guys are racing other gentlemen for position on this racetrack. They are not racing to get around lapped cars anymore. A little bit more exciting, we're gonna hear from Mike Helton live on the set of NASCAR Race Day later on, as well as some drivers. Now let's head over to Hermie Sadler, who's gonna have more on what does this mean for the drivers and the options on the restarts.
Well, Wendy, the magic words you said, leader's choice. That's what this thing is all about. Now, I'm on the racetrack here coming off turn 4. You see these 2 red lines on the racetrack? This is the restart zone. I want to clarify a couple things that the fans may not know. On the initial start of the race, the flagman will start the race. All the restarts after that, the leader can start the race anywhere between here, the double red line, and there's a single red line about 100 feet down the racetrack. Now think back to the All-Star race. Jimmy Johnson qualified on the pole for the Sprint All-Star Challenge. The qualifying leader has always had the option on the initial start of qualifying or starting the race on the inside of the front row or the outside of the front row. But during the course of a race on subsequent restarts, the leader has never had the option. It's basically been a race to start second in that final 10-lap dash. Well, now, with that leader's choice, what will that do? That will make all the leaders race their guts out to be in first, to be the leader, to have the choice to start on the inside or the outside. Now, where do you want to be, inside, outside? Maybe Pocono, it's the outside. Maybe Bristol, it's the inside. But JR, the bottom line is, as the leader on restarts, you have that option, and that is certainly worth racing for.
Hermie, thanks a lot. Definitely a work in progress here, but Jimmy, if you talk to the fans, they love it. If you talk to the drivers, they're still on the fence about this thing.
Yeah, and, you know, that's the problem I have is some of these drivers are already complaining. Well, you know what? The fans agreed with me. The absolute best race we've seen in years was the Sprint All-Star race. Absolutely one of the best races. The last 10 laps, Kenny, remember, we couldn't stay to our seat. Well, you know what, drivers? You got all these high-dollar buses and airplanes and everything else, but you know what? These fans work hard week in and week out to come to the races. Let's give them something to cheer about. Let's give them a race. That's my opinion of this.
Well, on the Speed Rolodex yesterday or on Friday, it said the Nationwide Series, a truck series, soon to be double file restarts in the future. So I have a vested interest in this. But Spence, let me tell the fans something that they don't know. Back in the day, Jimmy Spencer in his modified always started double file restarts. Now this Tuesday, I'll be with USMTS in Fort Smith, Arkansas. And I'll start the Jegs Mod double file restarts. In dirt racing, I don't know any better. We always start double file restarts. And I say, why are we doing the double file restarts? It's a show, man. NASCAR, it's about competition in the show. So here we are, we're side by side at Dover. This is Bristol. Now, can you imagine when we go to Bristol and we have double file restarts every single time? I don't know if the fans will ever sit down at Bristol. So, you know, we both are racers. We've done this our whole career. And we like the sport of NASCAR. All we're trying to do is make it more exciting, but it is going to be interesting.
Well, the bottom line here is the fans make this sport, not the drivers and not the sponsors. The fans are the bottom line. That's what Bill France started this company on, and his son progressed, and Brian France is doing the same. We need to cater to the fans. If we lose our fans' interest, we lose our sport. Thanks, NASCAR, for doing this, getting the fans back involved. Let's get some good racing back into this sport.
And race fans, let's take a look now at the championship standings 1 through 12. This is the way they roll as we come into Pocono. It's Tony Stewart with the lead. He'll start in the back of the pack because of the rained-out qualifying. He had the first spot, wrecked the primary car, went to the backup. Now it's Jeff Gordon, Jimmy Johnson on the front.
Yeah, it's a surprise. Kurt Busch, 4th. Last year he wasn't even in the top 10, top 12 alone. And the big story here is right now, look at Newman.
Newman.
Tony's teammate, 1st and 5th. Who would ever think that, Kenny?
And you know what's incredible? Sixth place Kyle Busch smashed his guitar last night. And we will have more to come on Speed about that. Stay tuned.
Now the top 10 in points start top 10 here, and 71% of race winners over the history of Pocono races have come from the top 10. So there's a good chance you might see one of those guys up front when this thing is all said and done. Here's the difference between 12 and the guys that are trying to get in.
Yes, Kenny, this is big. Why is this big? 12th place, Mark. If we ended today, he'd be in the championship hunt. The Sprint Cup Championship, David Rudin would be out. That's the big difference.
And race fans, right here on Speed, from here on out, we are going to be showing you this 12th on down. We want you to know, but yes, we got point leader Tony Stewart, but look, we're looking to see who's going to make the race for the chase. 12th, that is the holy grail of our sport right now.
A little later on race day, we're going to have Mike Helton come by and talk to us about this double file restart that starts today at Pocono. But coming up next on race day, one of the true stars of NASCAR will join us on the stage.
After the quick switch, there are signs the funk is lifting from the 88. We'll take you inside the headset and zip around Dover with Junior. Straight ahead, NASCAR Race Day built by the Home Depot.
NASCAR Race Day is built by the Home Depot. Visit homedepot.com. More saving, more doing. That's the power of the Home Depot. Brought to you in part by Advance Auto Parts. Keep the wheels turning. And by the Harley-Davidson Super Ride. Take the ride of your life today.
Welcome back, race fans. It's a beautiful afternoon in Long Pond, Pennsylvania. You know, 28 different drivers have won Cup races here at Pocono. This time last year, Kasey Kahne and his number 9 team were on a roll that continued coming into the Big Triangle.
Trackside on this beautiful Sunday afternoon. This is the place that you come to many times and worry about weather. That's not going to be a factor today.
You're the guys that won Lowe's. You're the guys that won the All-Star race. We're the ones going to win Pocono.
Might get loose into one as we go here.
10-4.
Green flag waving now. Kasey Kahne leading the way.
Just a little bit tight off all the corners. 10-4, a little bit tight off. That was a 57 flat to 50s behind you.
Into one and then real tight rolling through the center. I've got to park it getting in there.
Kahne on the inside, Johnson on the outside. He'll slide across the nose of Johnson. He'll grab the lead in turn number 2.
Good job, buddy. Good job.
Whoa, trouble in the front straightaway. 2 cars get together.
Trying to clear himself coming off 4. He wasn't cleared.
Tell me where exactly it's loose or where it starts smoking. I mean, still a little bit free into one. Not bad, though.
All right, everybody relax. Deep breath. Here they come. Are you going to come up just a little bit on that track bar? Yeah, half a round up on the track bar.
I got a pitch again, Kasey. He got 3 off the left front.
They went to the left, started pulling luggage off. Kasey took off. The problem was I was trying to watch him out of the corner of my eye and watch everyone coming, and I thought he hadn't got around yet. I thought he hadn't started hitting lugs yet. I couldn't see him. Sorry I screwed you up here. The good thing is we still have a lot of laps. We need to go ahead and come put tires on it, pull that fender out.
Fix it all the way this time if we're going to do it, because I do not want to work on this thing all day.
If it's off the tire, we won't be working on it at all.
Kasey Kahne is a driver who continues to work his way back up toward the front of the field.
Chase, you still all right with it?
Yeah, I mean, it's a little bit loose.
Yeah, 10-4. Maybe it'll come to you a little bit. Doing good, man.
No, it's really good.
Kahne this time is up alongside. Vickers not giving an inch in the outside lane. New race leader. Kahne slides up in front of Vickers. He'll retake the top spot.
One more time, man. You got about a 4-second lead. About 4 seconds.
Kasey Kahne and the Budweiser Dodge will continue their late season surge.
Good job, guys. Way to go. Way to go. Man, great job out there. Great way to dig us out of that hole. Chad, good adjustments, man. This thing couldn't have been any better. Couldn't have been any better today.
It's always great to return to the scene of the win of the defending champion of this race is Kasey Kahne joining us now. Kasey, good to see you, man. Beautiful day, isn't it?
It's good. It's the weather's great today.
Yeah. Hey, big news this weekend, of course, is a double file restarts. What do you think?
I think it's good. I look forward to it because you're racing the cars you're racing. you know, and if you're a lap down, you're racing the lap down cars. If you're on the lead lap, that's where all the lead lap cars are. And say last week I would restart 10th, and I start racing the guy for 9th 30 laps into a run because the lap down cars are just as good. They had one mistake, one run that wasn't quite as good, and so now they're racing everybody too. And it's nobody's fault. It's just what it has to be. So I think to put those cars back, if you're a lap down or forward, you know, whatever, and I think it'll be a lot better. I think it'll be more exciting also.
Kasey, in 2006, Denny Hamlin won both races. His crew chief, Mike Ford, put the car aside for Pocono only. You were a half a second quicker. Where is that car right now that you dominated with?
I have no clue where that car's at.
Oh, no.
Yeah, we were actually the second race here last year. We were a top 3 car. You know, I thought we were right there with Carl. And with pit strategy and the way things, you know, turned out at the end, we ran 7th. But we had 2 really good cars here last year. And my car today, yesterday it was really loose, but the front's where I want it. So if we can get the back in the track, I think we're going to have a great shot at running well today as well.
Kasey, I noticed that there's something special there on your shirt, your ring here for Allstate.
Yeah, that's the. What we do is we go to high schools around, you know, different states throughout the United States for Allstate, and it's basically it's for teenage safe driving, and we just go and talk about you know, just things that can happen from experience, I think. And you know, I've been in plenty of wrecks over the years. Luckily, I've had a helmet and Hans and all that stuff on. But you can just talk to them, and hopefully some of the kids come out of it, you know, and think about it, go home, talk to their parents, their teachers, and maybe, you know, just learn some things. And when they're going somewhere, they make sure they get there, and then they go and have their fun.
That's a good deal. 17th to 14th in points the last 3 races. How important is this top 12?
It's really important. It's you know, it's basically I think what everybody shoots for every year. I mean, we want to win races. We want to, you know, finish in the top 5, do everything we can, but at the end of the year, you want to be in the chase, and that's where you need to be for yourself, for your sponsors, your team, everybody that works so hard. So, you know, we've been making some gains. We've had a new car, a new engine. The guys at the shop have built some really nice stuff, and then Kenny Francis and Keith Rodden, our engineer, are doing a great job with the cars. I mean, my cars have been fast lately, so it's nice to drive them.
Kasey, Dodge has a new motor, and you're one of the first famous drivers to be running it. Can you feel the horsepower? Can you feel it?
Well, last week we ran it. This week we don't have it, but last week we ran it, and I felt, you know, Dover, you're not going to see it as much as maybe a Charlotte or something, but I definitely I was comparing myself to Reed Sorensen as well as he was running early in the race, and I was beating him down the straightaway, and he was beating me off the corner. You know, he was pretty good early, so I felt like our engine was definitely a plus last week, and we need to keep building and working on that engine.
And just wondering, why would you run it one week and not run it the next one?
Well, that's why only I had it last week. We don't have enough of them.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, that makes great sense then.
No, they're working hard. They're trying to get them done. We'll have one next week for Michigan, but it's just it's a process, you know, and we just weren't ready to have one for this weekend, so we'll have one next.
Completely understandable.
Kasey, it's time to talk about your personal things now, like Joey Saldana in the sprint cars. Where do you stand right now with your own sprint car team?
Won Charlotte, right?
Yeah, they won Charlotte. Joey won Friday night at, where were they, Lawrenceburg. I raced Friday night in Lernerville.
Awesome.
In an All-Stars race. Enjoyed that. Craig Delansky's been running well. I guess Joey had a problem last night. He was racing shots for the lead and broke apart. But they've been running really well. We have some good cars, good people working on them. It's a lot of fun to watch.
All right, Kasey, pretty soon you could see this guy joining them in victory lane here. It's you've been there week after week. Kasey, thanks for coming by. We appreciate it. Best of luck out there this afternoon. Now, when we come back to NASCAR Race Day, built by the Home Depot, the guy who perhaps has the hardest job in all of NASCAR. We're going to talk to him. Not Spencer and not Kenny Wallace and not me. We'll tell you about it in a moment. Tune into the only recap show with analysis and perspective from the participants in the event. On Monday, Michael Waltrip and Greg Biffle will dissect how the Pocono race really happened. Get the inside angle on the triangle with descriptions from inside the cockpit this week in NASCAR, Monday, 8 Eastern, only on Speed. Dale Earnhardt Jr. has 5 top 5s here at Pocono, but no wins as of yet. All eyes were on Junior's 88 team last weekend at Dover as they ushered in a brand new era.
You can follow me all the way out.
This is your 5 minutes of fame.
You're going to follow me all the way out there.
Oh, just for part of the way.
How about if I start dodging through stuff, make you fall down?
I may bug you about every 10 laps. Let us know how it's going.
10-4. Just talk.
And we're riding with Dale Earnhardt Jr. in the 88 car, started in the 22nd position. He was one of the cars that made the pit stop on that last caution. Right now, he is in the 29th position.
That last time out is when that free on accident showed up? No, it was doing it the first run, but it wasn't bad. I had better forward bite then. Okay, 10-4.
Debris in turn number 2 has put us under caution in the middle of green flag pit stops.
What a huge break this is for those drivers that stayed out.
Running in his highest position of the day and with a new crew chief is Dale Earnhardt Jr. He's climbed up into the top 8.
Mike, they made good progress on that 88 car. The pit stop prior to this one, he said, hey, I like what you've done. I'm still a little bit tight. Give me more of that adjustment. So they made another wedge adjustment. There he is in the 8th position.
Temperature's 210, 245 for a motor. Make a little liner pressure on the left sides and a little air to the right front, and we'll see what we got.
He has actually had 3 different crew chiefs in less than a week.
Just give me forward grip, put me into the car. Hold the first 2 or 3 laps there.
Tony Eury Jr. was on the pit box at Lowe's Motor Speedway last Monday. When we got here on Friday, Brian Weitzel was calling the shots because Lance McGrew right here was over with Brad Keselowski, who didn't make the race. Now Lance McGrew is in his ear calling the shots today and probably for the rest of 2009.
Clear the wall. Watch your right side, watch your right side. I got a little excited on you on the radio. Yeah, I saw just a step away from being solid as hell on the pit stops, but they're, we're not making any major mistakes. That's all I can ask for. Bud, we're good. Way good. Good job, guys.
Trouble in the front straightaway. David Stremme gets hits the inside wall. The caution flag is out.
Luck of the draw, really. Frustrating losing 2 spots right there. I feel the same way when I go to the grocery store. I can't ever pick the right line. The lines at the roller coasters are a lot like that. Stand there and go, damn, man, I should have gotten that line.
Dale Jr., he has finished in the 12th position in his first run with a new crew chief.
Had a productive day, and I've told all my boys, I said, we're building Rome here, and it might take a while to get it finished, but if everybody works hard, we'll get it done right.
And I feel the same pain going to the grocery store lines. I always pick the wrong one. Lance McGrew, crew chief for Dale Earnhardt Jr. Now, I've noticed the last 2 weeks, scanning you guys in practice sessions, not only the race, there has been very, very detailed feedback from Dale Earnhardt Jr. that maybe we haven't heard in the last couple months. What is it different about this relationship that it seems like both of you have been inspired?
Well, I mean, I think that you have to have that kind of communication because obviously he is my feedback. He's my pie data that I get at the racetrack week in, week out. So he has to give that level of information to me so I can make wise decisions on how to adjust the car. You just can't wing it. We're way past winging it. These cars are too sensitive to adjustments to just I can't physically see what's happening, so I definitely need all his input.
Now, when we get to racing today, obviously the rule change, we've talked about this. You're going to go into that driver's meeting today. Are there certain scenarios that you guys have talked about that are still in question? I saw a crew member come up to you, ask you to clarify some things. What's the biggest concern about this rule change?
I think everything right now. I mean, honestly, you study, but you're going to find yourself in a situation where you're going to make the wrong decision. You should have stayed out. You should have pitted. And until it's kind of a working process, learning. I think it's going to bring a lot of excitement back to the sport, especially later in the race when it's go time, and especially at a short track. I think it's going to be crazy. But I think right now, until we learn all the scenarios, it's going to be. I think people are going to make mistakes and they're going to make bad pit calls.
Now, when we get out on this racetrack, they call it the tricky triangle. We know it's about compromising in all 3 corners. The tunnel turn, it sounded like, was your problem in practice yesterday. Is it fair to try and give up on one corner to get better in the other? How do you manage to do that as a crew chief?
I've always thought turn 3 was the most important one because that leads you to the longest straightaway. Junior's really good through there. Like, we didn't really have a lot of trouble through turn 3. He feels like most of his lap time is gained, and that's a very good passing spot is to get through the tunnel turn. So we did concentrate on that. We were a little too free through there, in and off. We made some adjustments to the car. Everything was positive, so we're looking forward to today.
All right, well, welcome back full-time on the road. Good to see you, Lance. And he, of course, will be making those shots for Dale Earnhardt Jr., who starts 18th due to owner points. Kenny?
Wendy and race fans, think about it this way. Rick Hendrick, the car owner for Dale Jr., they're not going to let Dale Jr. fail. We got a new crew chief, Lance McGrew. We got engineers. If you would have watched practice here, you would have thought, what's going on? when that car came in, when Dale Jr.'s car came in, everybody was around it, Jimmy. I mean, they cannot and they will not let Dale Earnhardt Jr. fail. There is a mad rush in our sport right now to get Dale Jr. back up front.
And the big thing, Kenny, 9 top 10s last year, 3 top 10s this year. He's 18th in points. He's the only Hendrick car that's not in the top 12. End of the day, he's the one that is on the answer block, a chopping block, so to speak. Rick's going to do everything in his power. I agree with you, Kenny. He's going to do everything in his power to make it the best he can. Junior, step to the plate. It's the 9th inning. 2 strikes. This could be your 3rd strike. Step up to it. Get that car running good. That's what the fans expect out of him.
And you know what, race fans? Sometimes when you're in meetings, my crew chief, Chris Rice, he's wanting me to do things differently now to give feedback. We had a good race last night. And what I hear is that's what we're asking Dale Jr. to do. Be very specific. How am I in the middle? How am I coming off? Expect a little bit different verbiage from Dale Jr. now. It's going to be different.
And don't think Lance McGrew is a newbie around here. He's won a championship with Brian Vickers in the Nationwide Series. Newbie, new guy, you know, he's been around. He's a smart guy. He's been around Hendrick Motorsports for a long time. When we come back, we're going to talk to one of the turnaround stories of the last couple of years, and we're going to get Hermie Sadler to where the rubber meets the road. A new era in NASCAR begins today with double file restart, shootout style, with the leaders at the front of the pack with an option as to where to start. Tony Stewart has the points lead after his 2nd place finish in Dover, but you better watch out because Jeff Gordon and Jimmy Johnson are on his heels, and we are now halfway to the chase. We're live from Pocono, Pennsylvania, the home of Pocono Raceway, and this triangle is one of the toughest racetracks on the Sprint Cup Series circuit. And now, Hermie Sadler goes on track to show us what it'll take to get through 500 miles at Pocono.
Well, they call this place the Tricky Triangle here at Pocono, and what a racetrack it is. And what makes it difficult is the high speed you take into these corners with a relatively small amount of banking. Now, we talk about the front straightaway, 3,740 feet, over 200 miles an hour. When you fall down into turn 1, only 14 degrees of banking. Not a lot of banking for that kind of speed. The good thing about this corner is you have a lot of options. You'll see some guys digging around the bottom of the racetrack. You'll see some drivers using the middle and the top of the racetrack. They may give up a little bit in the middle, but they'll gain some speed going off turn 2, headed down towards the tunnel turn. And we've been talking all day about the double file restarts. How cool is it going to be to see these cars fan out 5 wide and head down into turn 1? Getting a good run off turn 2 is important because now you're on the Long Pond straightaway. Again, over 3,000 feet of straightaway, a lot of speed that takes you to what is, in my opinion, the trickiest corner of this racetrack, the tunnel turn. Now, only 8 degrees of banking. The key to getting through the tunnel turn is let off the gas early and get a good run off the corner. You also do not want to try to run side by side through this corner. It will slow both cars down, so you want to give and take. Once you get out of the tunnel turn, it brings you to turn 3. If you ask most drivers and crew chiefs, probably the most important corner on the racetrack because this is such a momentum track. Turn 3 is a long, sweeping corner, only 6 degrees of banking. It used to be the bottom of the racetrack, right around the curbing, was the shortest, best way to make passes. Now the racetrack has a new strip of asphalt up on the top side of the racetrack, gives you a lot of grip and more momentum off of turn 3. Momentum is the key here at Pocono. If you're out of the throttle too much, it costs you big time here at Pocono.
Hermie, thanks a lot. Now, one of the turnaround stories over the past couple of seasons has to be the number 83 Red Bull team and driver Brian Vickers. For more on that, let's go to Wendy Venturini.
And Brian Vickers has more top 5s at this racetrack than any other track on the Cup circuit, so you know a thing or two. What makes a driver good and consistent at this tricky triangle?
That's a great question. I think you've got to find a balance in the car that's acceptable in all 3 corners. You're never going to be great in all 3 corners. If you try to be great in all 3 corners, you're usually going to be very frustrated.
Now, we're getting into our summer stretch. You've had a decent season. You're at the same point in points that you were at this time last year. What can you do to give it that extra oomph going into this summer stretch?
Yeah, we've run really well. We've had some bad races. There's been a few tracks where I really feel like we missed it on the setup, but there's been a lot of tracks where we've had a really fast car and just things have not worked out our way. whether it be our fault, whether it be pit stops or mechanical failures, mistakes made, engine failures. But we've had a bunch of flat tires this year that's hurt us as well. But those you can't really control. Everybody's going to have those. We've just got to not beat ourselves. Keep putting the fast cars on the racetrack like we have been. The Red Bull guys have been doing a great job. The pit stops are really starting to come around here lately, and just keep digging hard.
All right, you're a book reader, so I have to check in on your. Now that we're a little bit into the season, read any good books lately? Because you like those little, what are those called?
Books?
No, the little electronic one you said.
Kindle.
Kindle, right? Isn't it called a Kindle? Any good books lately?
Amazon Kindle. I read most of my books now on that. I just finished Tipping Point, and now I'm moving into Outliers. Both Malcolm Gladwell books, amazing books. I'd recommend for anyone to read them. The guy he's probably one of the deepest thinkers of our time right now out there.
I'm sure Jimmy Spencer has read that. All right, thanks, Brian Vickers. Good luck to him. He'll start 17th due to points, Johnny. And, of course, we always got to throw in some good questions like that. Like, what book have you read recently? I'm sure Spencer's definitely been on that book list.
Yeah, Spencer likes the romance novels, I think, is what he generally reads.
Harlequin romance.
Yeah. All right, here's
but
the question.
I do read James Patterson. I'm into the murder and the other. But that's
Jimmy just said on national TV he's into murder. But anyway, let's talk about this number 8. That's what he just said. Yeah. Let's talk about the number 83 team. Couple of quick questions for you. Can they win this year?
Oh, yeah, John. They've been very close to winning this year. And like he said, flat tires, some circumstances taking them out. That team is a lot stronger this year, Kenny, than they were last. Going back to you, Johnny. I'm sorry.
That's quite all right. But, Kenny, what about this racetrack? It's tough, but Brian Vickers runs very well here.
Well, one thing I'd like to point out for everybody to watch is remember last year in the very last corner of this racetrack, call it whatever you will, 3, 4, whatever, they laid a new piece of asphalt. We're going to show you right here. Here is, see the darker area? We've always ran to the right, down by the white curb. But because that asphalt is really fresh, look for the whole field to completely be where that man is. See that guy going like this? That's where the whole field will be because the asphalt is real sticky up there.
And you know what's interesting about this track, fans, is that Brian Vickers said you have to have a balance. But you know what? You can really be fast through 1 and 2. Tremendous amount of passing. Then you get tremendous amount of passing in the tunnel turn. And then a tremendous amount of passing in a straightaway. But it's only official at the start-finish line. A lot of passing, but not official. Great excitement here at Pocono.
That's a good point.
And now it is time for us to go to Rutledge Wood, who is out there searching for the most colorful fan in NASCAR for M&Ms.
So for this week's most colorful fan, Ryan, you found something totally different.
Well, Rutledge, man, you know NASCAR fans come from all different backgrounds, and today we found some true heroes, some firefighters from East Patterson, New Jersey.
So now, why do you guys love coming to races so much?
Well, we go with the hometown driver, which is Martin Truex Jr., and we come here to support him, and that's what it's all about for us.
And look at the style, just the logo of your shirt alone. I've never seen, it's like a pirate fireman.
Well, I'll tell you what, you got to see some of the tattoos that some of these guys get. But
I do want to point out that with style like this, it makes total sense to see a deluxe camper. You don't see a lot of these at home, but with fabric that would make my grandmother jealous. This place is this must be for the chief. This has got to be for you then.
There's no way I'm winding up in that thing this weekend. Maybe the low man on a pole gets this, but he don't have a choice. That's just how it works.
If you see a firefighter today, especially one that's working for one of these guys, go up, shake their hand, thank them for what they do, because today they are our most colorful fans.
For those of you who couldn't make it to Pocono, make sure you register at NASCAR.com/mostcolorfulfan for your chance to be M&M's most colorful fan of NASCAR winner. On the site, you can vote for your favorites, play the game, upload your own photos for a chance to win a trip to the final race of the season at Homestead, Miami, where M&M's will crown the most colorful fan of NASCAR. When we come back to NASCAR Race Day built by the Home Depot, we got the boss coming by to talk to us about double file restarts and how this change came about. You always get a great crowd at the Pocono Raceway here in Pennsylvania. We got beautiful sunny skies, high in the 80s today. It's a great day for motorcar racing, if you will. And we now have a very special guest on the set with us, President Mike Helton. Mike, thank you so much for coming by. We appreciate the time on what we know is a very busy race day for you, but it was very unusual for us to hear a major change to competition mid-season. And I know a lot of fans are very excited about the double file restart shootout style. Tell us what went into making this decision.
Well, there you go. That's what went into making the decision. You know, a double file restart is something I think most everybody that follows motorsports has seen you can even go as far as used to, especially at your home track, regional racing. You double file restarts are very common. We've not done that in the national tours in NASCAR, but have talked about it and thought about it over time as an opportunity of something that we can do. And so the past year and a half, 2 years, but certainly in the past month and a half or 2 months, there's been more and more momentum to do this. And I will tell you that this is an initiative, this is a move by NASCAR in the garage area purely for fans. And I'll also tell you,
I'm a fan.
Well, but we all are, and and so we're all enjoying this right now. I would tell you that I have never seen a procedural move that NASCAR has made, not in my career here anyway, that has the overwhelming support and interest in making it work right throughout the garage area than this one has, because they understand the importance of the fans enjoying what they see on the racetrack. So, my hat's off to the garage area as much as anybody for embracing this, to helping us understand how to do it. And we, for weeks, hours upon days that built into weeks, have gone through the what ifs, because there's a lot of things that will happen when we trigger this move. But we think we're ready for it. We may need a little bit of a tolerance to get through, and Pocono and Michigan are good places to launch it. We've got plenty of room. There's a chain of things that happens that the fans will be able to start seeing, but the end result is going to be a great race at the racetrack.
Mike, I love our sport of NASCAR, and I love to protect it and take care of it because it's what's helped me make my living, and I love racing. But I seen something 2 weeks ago that I've never seen before, and I just want to talk to you about what led NASCAR to have the town hall meeting.
Well, it's very rare for us to do that. The last one we had was about 9 years ago at Joe Gibbs's shop, if you'll remember. And from time to time, though, NASCAR takes stock in its own way of doing things to be sure that we're always in line with being the good stewards of the sport. And that's something that Bill Sr., when he founded the sport, Bill Jr. drove at home to all of us. Brian and Jim France and Lisa Kennedy continue today to have the same fundamental beliefs and understanding of the responsibilities that NASCAR has than the same as we had in 1947. So the business of racing, the sport today, and all the stakeholders we have makes it much more complicated, I guess is the word to use, than it's been, and sometimes requires extraordinary steps by NASCAR to be sure that we're doing it right. And the town hall meetings a couple of weeks ago in Concord were around talking to each other. We're here we're at the racetracks every weekend. But sitting down and focusing on issues is what we did in that meeting, and it was good. And we'll do more of those as we go down the road.
And I just want to say real quick, Jimmy Spencer, and I mean this, whenever I call or text Mike Helton, he texts me right back. So you always are there for the drivers.
Yeah. But the good thing about it that happens in a collective meeting like the town hall meeting is the other folks can understand a little bit about others' opinions, and see kind of what we're dealing with when we address topics, because a lot of opinions come from the questions and the issues of the day.
Well, like Rick Hendricks said, once you get a bunch of smart minds together, you can solve some things. And I think that was very important. And I compliment NASCAR and your whole staff for allowing that. Mike, 500 miles here, way too long. New Hampshire, 300 miles, a lot shorter. Is NASCAR looking and saying, we need to condense this time frame on these races?
Well, it's something that we can look at, but I tell you, see?
I know.
There you go.
Yeah, because they just want to drink more beer, Mike.
There's a difference of opinion. They want to see more racing.
They want to see more racing.
We continue. We went through a period, if you recall, where Rockingham, North Carolina, Dover, Delaware, we did shrink some of the races that were pushing 5 hours. But, it's a balance of what to do and what the opinions are. And as of right now, it's kind of is where it is. But, we always look at the ability to modify those things. But, the fans tell us they kind of like that, the way it is right now.
Well, you're from Pennsylvania. We're a little bit different up here.
No kidding.
Mike, the thing is that you guys have a lot on your plate. There's no question about it. With the economy that we're faced with today, every American, every race fan, How hard are you guys working with the owners to protect their sponsors, and what efforts is going in to maintaining our association with all of our sponsors?
Yeah, and that started last year. You know, it's obviously throughout the history of the sport, it's been important for NASCAR to work on the relationship it has with stakeholders, speed channel, manufacturers, car owners, the racetracks, the promoters, the race fans. It's important for us to pay attention to what's going on. So last year, when it was obvious that there were going to be issues from the economy, from specifically manufacturers, then we were meeting this time last year with manufacturers to try to understand their challenges. And oh, by the way, tell them, it says, look, what can we do to help you? Because we believe that their relationship with us is good for us, obviously, but we also believe that the relationship with us helps them. And so we were aggressively trying to work together on whatever we could to help each other out over a year ago. And as it has evolved and as it has changed drastically in the last 12 months, we've been able to stay in touch. Now, we believe that the manufacturer's role in this sport is important. It's important to fans because they follow brands of cars like they follow drivers and car owners and favorite racetracks. And so we hope that NASCAR's relationship with the manufacturers stays intact, and we believe it will. But we certainly hope it does.
Mike, one last thing. We had a freak accident at Talladega. The fans are wanting to know, have we dreamed up anything, or are we just going to leave the safer barrier and the fence at Talladega alone? Or is everything all right?
Well, there's 2 or 3 elements from that. Obviously, we spent a good deal of time analyzing the car, the 99 car that Carl was driving. And then working with Talladega Superspeedway, whose evolution of the fence has been one of the prominent evolutions in fencing in our sport because of the incidences that we've had there in the past. And so as we sit here and speak, we're looking into the ability to uplift the engineering around fences at racetracks to keep the fans safe. But I would also point to the fact that fence did what it was supposed to do that day.
Yes,
when the 99 car got into the configuration it did, the fence did its job. It kept the race car on the racetrack, and so it did. Whatever we can do to improve the car, whatever we can do to improve the fence, we'll do it.
Great. Awesome.
Mike, thank you very much for your time today. We certainly
Thanks,
appreciate it. I know these fans appreciate a busy day for NASCAR, and Mike took the time to come out and talk to us, and we are looking forward to seeing double file restart shootout style today on the racetrack at Pocono. When we come back, we'll continue to get you fired up for 500 miles of racing on the Big Triangle at Pocono.
The Brats double dip got Roush off to a fast start, but the Cats pack has come up empty since. Wendy chats with Jack to find out where the team is headed.
Well, my expectations is that 3 of those guys will all win more races, and we'll move our way into the top 12, and that will make a very effective challenge for the championship at the end of the year.
Stay tuned. NASCAR Race Day, built by the Home Depot.
Saturday on Speed, the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series races into the Irish Hills. Last year, Eric Darnell captured victory by only 0.05 of a second. Who will claim the Motor City bragging rights this year? Tune in for the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series live from Michigan, Saturday, 1:30 Eastern on Speed. Be there. Now, what a difference 1 year can make in the top 12. Some drivers that were out are back in. Some drivers that were in are back out. We're halfway to the chase, but take a look at 2008. This time last year, after 13 races, Kyle Busch, remember, he was winning every dang thing and dominating. Dale Earnhardt Jr. was 3rd in points.
Yeah, but look at Carl Edwards. How about him? All the wins he had last year, he won the most races. It's all been changed.
Yeah, but the biggest change here right now is Kevin Harvick. My gosh, Kevin Harvick is 24th in the points right now. What a year has made a huge change.
The reason Kasey Kahne's name was in the yellow out of that list of drivers, he was the only one that did not eventually make it into the chase. Take a look at the number 14 of Tony Stewart, owner-driver, leading the points right now with Jeff Gordon and Jimmy Johnson right behind.
That's not the number 20, fans. That's a new team. Tony Tony Stewart leading the championship 2009. That's hard to believe. Hard to believe that he would leave a championship, 2 championship teams. He won 2 championships and then start the own thing with Haas. Incredible.
And now he's got Ryan Newman right up there with him as well.
Newman.
So we're going to talk a little bit about that team a little later on. But right now it is time for the Shell Garage Report. For that, we have Hermie Sadler and Wendy Venturini down in the garage for us. And we're going to start out with you, Wendy.
Thanks, Johnny. Since we're halfway to that chase cutoff, we decided to take the fans through a little walk of the top 12. We're going to start with Mark Martin, 12th in points. Now, he has the most top 5s and top 10s than any other driver here at Pocono, but he has been winless here at the Tricky Triangle. He's a proven winner in 2009 with 2 wins already this season. He's got a 31-point lead over that 13th spot. You want to be in that top 12. His biggest concern in practice, keeping up with Ryan Newman as we move up in points to Carl Edwards, who sits 11th. He's opposite of Mark Martin. Carl Edwards has 2 wins at Pocono, but he's been winless in 2009. A lot of momentum on their side. They've had 2 top 10s the last 2 races after a string of bad finishes. Crew Chief Bob Osborne hopes to keep that momentum going as he is a Pennsylvania native and wants to get to victory lane today. Carl Edwards was one of those 2 drivers that did double duty going to the nationwide race in Nashville last night, got back early this morning, late last night, about 2-3 a.m. all those guys. Carl Edwards finished 3rd last night. Hermie?
Well, thank you, Wendy. Now, Jeff Burton currently occupies the 10th place in the points. That's a drop of 8 positions from 1 year ago today. Also, the bad news is the last 3 finishes, a 12th at Darlington, 25th at Lowe's, a 16th at Dover, and RCR as a company has admittedly gotten behind a little bit, but is starting to show signs of improvement. On the good side for Jeff Burton, he owns 14 top 10s here and 30 career starts. Look for him to try to solidify himself inside the top 10. Now, Greg Biffle, he was 5th this time last year, currently 9th in points. Bad news, only 2 top 10s in his career here at Pocono. On the good side of things, he finished 3rd last week at Dover, and Roush Fenway also starting to show signs of getting better finishes and trying to get to victory lane. Wendy?
Well, Matt Kenseth, who sits 8th in points, had his best finish of the season last week at Dover, a 4th since his first 2 wins of the first 2 races of 2009. In happy hour, he and his crew chief Drew Blinkensurfer tried 4 different spring packages. They've been too loose in the tunnel turn. Think they are best off at turn 3. They got a good long straightaway with a lot of horsepower. They are trying to break a winless streak here at Pocono. Their biggest concern, the guy next to them in points, Denny Hamlin. He was fastest in happy hour. He swept both races here in 2006. He and crew chief Mike Ford, they worked on fine-tuning that race car, tying all 3 corners together. Now, I will tell you that Denny Hamlin does have a sprained right ankle. He did that in a basketball game that he plays in a league. His ankle should be okay. They anticipate no problems with that. It did cancel a test session for the 11 team at VIR earlier this week. That is rescheduled for Tuesday. Hermie?
Well, thank you, Wendy. Now, Kyle Busch sits 6th in points. He was leading this points this time last year. He is the new Goodtar hero, as we talked about earlier on the show. This has not been a good track for him. 43rd and 36th here last year. Something interesting on Friday. We had a rain delay. Kyle Busch went and got his older brother, Kurt, to take him around this racetrack, to show him the line on this racetrack and the lifting points. Maybe that'll help him today. He was 7th in final practice with a decent race car. Ryan Newman up to 5th in points. What a turnaround for this driver and this race team. Ryan finished 36th at Daytona, was 36th in points, has worked his way to the top 5 in points. His last 5 finishes, 3rd, 4th, 4th, 2nd, and 8th. That speaks for itself, Wendy.
Kurt Busch has been consistently in the top 5 in points all season, but as Pat Tryson said, they're inconsistent here at Pocono this week. They've been chasing the car most of the weekend, got a little bit more loose as the sun came out yesterday. It got warmer and warmer yesterday. The track has definitely changed from earlier this week. 2 wins at Pocono for Kurt Busch, but neither of them coming in the spring races. He hopes to change things around. Jimmy Johnson, who is now 3rd in points, coming off his win last week in Dover. He gained some more spots in the points, and with his second win of the season, he is looking for more momentum. Now, Jimmy Johnson, too comfortable in his race car. They were looking for a little bit of a bad feeling, so they knew exactly what to do. He and crew chief Chad Knaus look forward to today's race. They know they have a good setup. Hermie?
Wendy, Jeff Gordon gave up the points lead last week at Dover to Tony Stewart for the first time in several weeks. Why was that? A subpar 26th place finish after Jeff Gordon crashed his car in qualifying last weekend at Dover. He went to a bag-up car, didn't get the finish he wanted. The good news for Jeff Gordon, he has 4 wins and 22 top 10s here at Pocono. He likes his race car, not 100% happy that he can be a winning car, but they made a few changes this morning to free that car up a little bit. Look for him to be a factor today. Now, Tony Stewart, the points leader, what else can you say? He crashed his car in practice here yesterday. He will go to a backup car. He is leading the points, but he will have to start 43rd from the back of the field. He does have 1 win here, and what an unbelievable season it's been so far for Stewart Haas with 2 cars in the top 5 so far, JR.
Hermie, thanks a lot. And that is your top 12 in Sprint Cup points as we ride into Pocono. Now, when we come back to NASCAR Race Day built by the Home Depot, we'll have a driver who we guarantee will flip out if he wins here this afternoon. And NASCAR Scene Daily and Speed TV have teamed up to form the most powerful online news in NASCAR. The Jeremy Mayfield case continues as NASCAR's now filed a countersuit. Visit speedtv.com for all the latest details.
Welcome back to NASCAR Race Day, built by the Home Depot here at Pocono Speedway. Now, with Dover last week, we are halfway to the chase cutoff. And as of today, 3 of the 5 Roush Fenway drivers are in that top 12, which of course is the chase cutoff. Jack Roush has had at least 2 of his drivers in the chase in the last 5 years that we've had this chase format. So we decided to check in with the Cat in the Hat and check in and see halfway to that chase cutoff how his 5 drivers are doing. Here's this week's Real Deal.
Other than winning those first 2 races of 2009 with Matt Kenseth, it's been pretty dismal.
We're 13 races in. Are you pleased with the organization as a whole so far?
I am satisfied for the time being. The, David Reagan, based on the year he had last year, and Jamie McMurray, based on the year he had last year, should be in the top 15. So we're trying to get that rectified, and we're prepared to do whatever it takes to realize the potential that we've got there. As far as Carl and Matt and Greg, I wish that we'd won more races so far, and I wish we had more poles so far. As far as where they are in points, I'd hope they'd be higher, but certainly there was an expectation that the 3 of them would be almost sure things for the chase and for the championship that will follow it.
What kind of letter grade?
Matt Kenseth gets an A with his crew chief. This is his first season with Drew Blankensterfer, and I would hope that by the end of the year they'll have a championship or they'll be contenders for it, and we'll be on A+. Greg Biffle and Greg Irwin, in their 3rd year together here, are doing a great job, and as a whole, they're doing better, and their communications are better, and they're more on target with their changes. Carl and Bob, that's kind of a love-hate relationship there with Bob. He's a tough guy, and he'll always show you his rough side, his backside first. And Carl and he have worked a rapport out where they're challenging one another all the time, but they definitely get an A. And the crew chief and driver combinations that aren't in there, they're B's or C's, and we're going to work to elevate them by the end of the year.
There have been a few on-track bumps, some of them severe, between these 2 in the last couple of years.
That's just not nice right there.
I think just less than a month ago at Darlington.
Contact. Carl Edwards gets bumped by Greg Biffle. He hits the outside wall as the field streams by. Nice of my teammate to wreck me.
You mentioned Greg and Carl. Seems like they have this magnetic attraction to each other on the racetrack. What are your thoughts? Is it just one of those racing deals, as they like to call it?
Well, it is a racing deal, but you've got to be careful because you're so focused as a driver. It's seen by me, I'm not a driver, but it would appear that drivers are so focused on the racetrack and making sure that they're respectful of the racetrack and the things that it can do. When they see that they can do more than the guy in front of them, sometimes they aren't paying enough attention to the person in front of them, but they hit one another because the person in front doesn't get on the gas as fast as the person in back thinks they might.
So they haven't been too aggressive as teammates in your
Oh yeah, they've been too aggressive with one another as teammates, and we've talked about that, and of course Greg in this case made his apology, and Carl in the case of Talladega wreck last fall, which was worse in the chase, made his apology as well. So they've got to be careful not to frustrate one another's efforts by having untimely and ill-advised contact during the race with one another.
they are not living up to their expectations. They have the winningest driver from last year, Carl Edwards, who has not won a race this year. And you've got Jamie McMurray, who woulda, coulda, shoulda, but hasn't. And so basically you got 2 wins by the 17 car, and that's it.
Now, both wins for Roush Fenway became the first 2 races of the season. Then nothing has happened since then when it comes to victory lane, because you guys have been in position, just not that first car across the line.
We've broken some parts, unfortunately, and Rex broken parts, and then as we had it over a couple of times, just missing that last change. Not that you missed it, but you didn't get it as right as somebody else did in the field. And with 25 of them in there that are shooting at this thing, somebody is going to get it right. So you got to be on time to win one of these races. And we're going to win more races, a lot more races before the year's over.
And one guy that hopes to get those wins going today is Carl Edwards. We just heard from Jack Roush. He gave an assessment and some letter grades to the team. He gave you and your crew chief, Bob Osborne, an A for your crew chief driver combo, and other teams at Roush Fenway, B's and C's. Probably not exactly where you want to be, but could be worse off, couldn't it?
Yeah, that's nice of Jack to give me an A, but we need to get some extra credit or something. We we don't have the wins right now that we thought we'd have, but our performance has been getting better and better. And I mean, at the beginning of the season, Matt Kenseth, coming out and winning the first 2 races, they Daytona 500. That was pretty strong. And Greg's been running really well. Jamie's been running really well. And our struggles have been mostly on pit road and just kind of bad luck. But this is a great racetrack. Pocono is one of my favorite places to be, and we were really fast yesterday. So maybe we can get that first win of the season here.
Now, you're probably working on very little sleep coming from Nashville in the nationwide race. Did you rest up very much at all? We know Kenny Wallace did not.
See, the problem is when Kenny Wallace rides with you, he keeps you up the whole time. He's got stories and he's laughing. And my buddy Carl Jockey's with me here this weekend. All he could talk about was Kenny Wallace. He's like, man, that guy's cool. He had us going. And what usually ends up happening, and what happened last night, is Kenny gets to talk for about 20 minutes, and then Jack comes on the PA from the cockpit up there, and he's like, Wallace, and Kenny laughs and shuts her down. So I did get a little bit of sleep.
Well, you look well rested. When we get to Green Flag Racing today, what can you expect out of your Cup car? Very green racetrack at the beginning of the weekend. Some Hoosier rubber was laid down yesterday in the ARCA race. How is your race car going to perform on this tricky triangle?
Tricky triangle. Hopefully it performs flawlessly. We put tires on at the end of practice, and that Aflac Fusion was really fast. I felt like we were competitive with the 16, the 48, who at the beginning of practice we were nowhere near Jimmy's speed. So, hopefully it's good. The double file restarts will be interesting. I think that'll be a lot of fun. And, like I said, it's just one of my favorite tracks. There's so much that goes on, at this place from the driver's perspective. It's a lot of fun.
All right, well, we look forward to it today. Carl Edwards starts 11th due to those owner points. Johnny?
Wendy, thanks a lot. Let's take a closer look at the owner points for Roush Fenway Racing right now and what a difference a year can make. As of 2008 at this point, after 13 races, Carl Edwards was 4th, Biff was 5th, Reagan was knocking on the door of the championship chase, Kenseth was 16th, and Jamie McMurray was 22nd. Let's flash forward to 2009. Matt Kenseth has moved up 9 spots, but after that, everybody in championship standings either moves down or stays flat. Biff is down 4, Carl Edwards down 7, and David Reagan is down 18. And you know what, guys? You kind of become a victim of your own success when you look at that. Having guys in championship contention right now usually is a good thing, but for Roush Fenway Racing, they're used to so much success that the other stuff makes it a negative situation.
Well, it does. And I'm going to bring Jamie McMurray up for an example. This guy, if there's anything can happen to a race team, it happens to this guy. Flat tires, accidents not of his doing. That's been the toughest luck driver this year for me was McMurray. When watching this car, he's a top 10, top 15 car every week, just not having any luck, Kenny.
I'd just like to point out that, you do not keep the Roush Brigade, the team, you don't keep them down too long. Jack Roush is very analytical in his assessment of his team. Loved his interview, giving Jamie McMurray, giving David Reagan, everything they can do. Let's get it turned around. So very positive attitude. But, Spence and JR from his days, up in Michigan, building car parts, He's very analytical and has a reason to why to get everything done. So they just never stay down very long.
You know what I love?
I agree.
What?
The fact that he told you to shut up over the PA last night on the plane.
That's hard to
That's
do,
awesome,
Johnny.
man.
We have so much fun on that airplane. It's 2 years in a row now, and me and Carl be talking, and Jack's like, "Are you going to laugh?" I'm like,
Wallace,
"Maybe not."
please keep it down.
Yeah,
Wallace,
and
please
Jack,
keep it down.
Jack Roush, a great pilot, and he'll go, "Kenny Wallace, time to get some sleep." I'm like, okay.
All right, well, no one's getting any sleep around here today because we got 500 miles of action-packed racing here at Pocono. But in just a few short weeks, speed is into Father's Day at Infineon Raceway in Sonoma for the Toyota Save Mart 350. Visit the speed stage all weekend long and sign up to win the ultimate Father's Day race package. You could win the chance to watch NASCAR Sprint Cup Series race from the pits and more. There were critics when Tony Stewart announced he would leave Gibbs Racing and become an owner-driver. Right now, both of his teams are in championship contention and knocking on the door of the first points win of the season. Our Wendy Venturini is standing by with the boss man himself, Tony Stewart.
Well, this is the first time Tony Stewart has led the points since 2005. Those 2 other times in a season that he's led, he's gone on to win the championship. So, Smoke, does this mean we're on to something and everyone should watch out for you? Because you have never held the points lead before the month of August. So congrats on that.
Thank you. I hope we're on to something for sure. But, the thing that I do know we're on is we're on a roll right now, and that's due to everybody at Stewart Haas Racing and everybody on the U.S. Army team and the Office Depot Old Spice team. Just Bobby Hutchins and Darian Grubb and Tony Gibson and Ryan have just been doing an awesome job, and we got a group of guys that don't get to come to the track every weekend back in North Carolina that have just been doing wonders this year. I mean, everybody's really worked hard and done everything it takes to get us where we are right now.
Now you're giving up that pole spot because you're going to a backup car. You could explain to race fans what happened there and how good is this backup car?
I ran out of talent yesterday is what happened. So, I spun off a 2 and didn't get it in the wall, but in the process of saving it, ended up down on the grass. And as soon as we got down there, we hit one of the access roads with the splitter and it ripped the nose off of it. So had to go to a backup car, couldn't fix that one. But I'm really impressed. I mean, it's Jack Roush was saying in the media center the other day that we're kind of still in the honeymoon phase. And, yesterday was one of those parts that is back to reality that, hey, we have to cross hurdles too, just like the rest of the teams do. And, I was really proud of how Darian and all the guys got the backup car down. And we only missed 5 minutes of the second practice session and ended up, I think, 6th on the board on the sheet. So the backup car is really good. We're just going to have to come from a long way today. So we're going to make it exciting for everybody.
Now, we know which drivers headed to Nashville to do double duty for the nationwide race. You, my friend, headed somewhere else last night to race at your racetrack. Tell us about how your night went last night. Another late night. That's why Smoke might have his glasses on.
Yeah, we went back to Eldora and ran the Dream, which is a $100,000 to win late model race, and running with the nation's best dirt late model guys. And I got really lucky due to the invert in the draw for the heat race and start on the pole and won my heat race, and that put me on the pole for the main and ended up running 6th last night. I think we led around 50 laps, so that was an awesome night for me just to make the 24-car starting field when there was 120 cars. There was a huge accomplishment for us, and to race with the best dirt late model drivers in the country and finish 6th in a big race like that was huge.
And I do have to say, unfortunately, the prelude to the Dream rained out earlier in the week, but September 9th, right, is the rescheduled?
Yes, Wednesday, September 9th, which is the same week of our World 100 in Richmond for the Cup Series. So we're already getting drivers that are already confirming on their schedules that they can make it, so we'll have a list soon of who can and can't make it.
Very cool. Tony Stewart, the first owner-driver to lead the Cup standings since Alan Kowicki in 1992. 17 years. Wow. Hermie?
Well, thank you, Wendy. And I got Tony's teammate, Ryan Newman. And first of all, the theme of the day has been obviously the double foul restart rule. And you've done a lot of different kind of racing. What's your input on NASCAR implementing this policy for this weekend?
Well, it's something the fans have asked for. Now, I know not every fan has asked for it, so don't get me wrong there, but it's something that I think will make the racing more exciting. It should be good. It's just going to tighten up the guys that are racing for the lead, and that's what we're here to see is, a good race for the win. And, I think it's a good call. We'll have to work out some intricacies, I'm sure, but, that's part of it, just like we talked about the lucky dog and all that stuff a few years ago.
You guys, you've been back to Daytona. What a difficult weekend that was for you guys. Finished 36th after a lot of trouble. Your last 5 finishes, 3rd, 4th, 2nd, and 8th. Unbelievable consistency for a new team.
Oh, the guys are doing a really good job. I mean, nuts are staying tight on the car, and the guys are doing a good job in the pits, and the car's been pretty fast and competitive. We weren't as good at Dover as we wanted to be, and we finished about what we should have. But we got a really fast Haas Automation Chevrolet today, and we'll look forward to the race.
I was going to ask you, from polling around in the garage area today, your name is popping up a lot as far as a guy that should be in the mix for the win. So we've got fantasy picks coming up. So any reason why any of us should take you today?
Well, our car was good. It was really good in practice. We got it pretty good in all 3 corners, which is hard to do here, and obviously head-to horsepower is really good down the straightaway. So I look forward to it. I think we're in a group of about 5 to 7 cars that are right there quick, and track position's huge here. So if you have good pit stops, we should be in good shape.
Well, JR, you know what they always say, you got to run up front to have a chance to win. 4 top 5s out of the last 5. Might be a pretty good pick today. What do you think?
I think so, Hermie, but you get to go before any of the rest of us, so I don't think we'll have a shot at Newman. Thanks, Hermie, and congratulations to that team for doing what they're doing. Also, we got to send congratulations out to Robbie Gordon. Robbie Gordon won the Baja 500 this weekend, and that is nothing short of an incredible accomplishment, and now he's coming here for 500 more at Pocono, so congratulations to Robbie Gordon on a big win. Right now, we want to remind you this Thursday, Wrecked is all new. When a winter storm wreaks havoc on Chicago, O'Hare is left to clean up the carnage and put their own lives on the line. Wrecked, Life in the Crash Lane. Catch all new back-to-back episodes beginning at 10 p.m. Eastern exclusively on Speed. Welcome back to Pocono, everyone. You know, we're going to get some good stuff on the racetrack this afternoon, no question about that, and that's why all these fans are out here today. But to really get the good stuff, we're going to go to our good friend, Crew Chief Booty Barker, who each weekend brings us the good stuff from Napa. Booty?
We're at Pocono, and man, have I got some good stuff for you. The masses have spoken. They wanted more excitement, so NASCAR's giving it to them. They've given them double file restarts shootout style. Now, what is this? I'm going to try to explain it to you. What used to happen was when you get lap down cars, you would line the leaders on the outside, the lap down cars on the inside. It was still double file, but you could be 5th in line or 5th on the racetrack, but actually 10th in line. Well, now what they've done is they've taken the lap down cars out of the picture. We're going to have 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th right beside each other, and the lap down cars, they got to head out back. Now, this really isn't going to hurt them because they still can get the lucky dog, so that's not going to come into play. But we're here at Pocono, and that's where they're going to institute it, and it's the perfect place to do this. Why? Because the front straightaway is 10 miles wide. So what happens is on that restart, those guys can fan out. So when you see them fan out, you're going to see 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th beside each other going into turn 1. Very exciting. So who's this new rule going to hurt? Those drivers who don't have the huevos. And if you don't know what that means, find somebody Spanish. Who's it going to help? Those that are crazy, a.k.a. Kyle Busch. And that, my friends, is the Napa good stuff from Pocono.
Booty, thanks a lot. That's what the crew chief thinks about this. Let's now check in with the drivers, see what they're thinking.
The fans like it. I think from a competition standpoint, everyone's going to be racing who they need to race. Lead lap cars, guys fighting for lucky dog, lap down cars, all of that stuff. So I think it maybe will organize us a little better. The big question is, is there going to be an advantage for the wave around cars if that situation exists?
It's a new aspect to racing. Hopefully it'll draw more attention from the fans. They'll want to see what happens on the restarts, who all we can wreck on the restarts, and cautions breed cautions, I think, now more than ever.
There's some good things and bad things from a competitor standpoint, but this is not about the competitors. It's about, competing to entertain our fans, and it's about entertainment, and it will make it more exciting. It'll just be different. It's a big change, huge change, and it'll be different. It'll be good for the fans.
And we shall see. We had planned to talk about the bad of 2009 today. Don't have time, so what we're going to do is talk about that next weekend, and we're going to talk about this right now. Here's a question to Kenny Wallace and Jimmy Spencer. Good or bad? Last night, after the Nationwide Series race in Nashville, Kyle Busch took the trophy guitar, smashed it into a bunch of pieces, and handed it out to his teammates. Now, what is the problem with doing that? All he did was share the trophy among his band members in honor of Pete Townsend, and it's a pretty strong guitar because it took a while to strap. Rock stars do that. God. They smash it together. I see no problem with that whatsoever. It's his trophy. He can do with it what he wants.
Oh, my Lord. Well, I have mixed results on this because he told his team, everybody on my team is going to get a piece of this guitar. But the only thing I say is, Sam Bass, the man that designed the guitar, was flown to Nashville, put all his artistic work into it, and usually, Jimmy Spencer, that guitar is like the grandfather clock for Martinsville. So I would like to have seen a little close-up of Sam Bass when he done that. I imagine Sam went,
you know, hang on a second. That is an insult to any sporting event. The Stanley Cup, the PGA Tour at the Augusta, you don't see the guy taking the green coat and throw it on the ground. You know, think about the U.S. Open, the trophy that they win. You know, the Indy 500, I lost all respect for Emerson Fittipaldi, for the dairy farmers of the United States of America, when he would not drink the milk and push it out of the way and drank orange juice. That's a slap in the face to America.
But Jimmy, it's a guitar. It's a guitar.
I mean, Kyle Petty and I was talking about Kyle Busch.
It's a guitar, though. It's not. It's a guitar, and guys smash guitars after rock concerts.
It's a trophy. It is a trophy. It's a symbol of winning a race.
I just think you're being an old fuddy-duddy, Jimmy. You're being too.
Let me explain something to you. There's people out there that's never won a race, and they've got no trophies to show for it. You do not insult the fans and the people that put all the effort into winning that trophy.
But he was sharing. He was sharing with his teammates. All right, well, that's a debate that's going to go on for quite some time.
I disagree with you, Johnny.
When we come back to NASCAR Race Day, built by the Home Depot, we're going to bring some star power into the show. And we're not talking just about Rutledge Wood. Got a craving for some road course racing action? Then get your tickets now for the hell of a good sour cream dips at the Glen weekend. See the NASCAR Sprint Nationwide Series plus the Grand Am Rolex Sports Car Series. Tackle the Glen August 6th through 9th. Call 866-461-RACE or visit theglen.com. And by the way, Watkins Glen does have 43 pit stalls.
You know what? Double file restarts starting at
on the road
today,
course?
But on the road course, awesome. I can't wait.
Yeah.
Kenny, 43 pit stalls.
Now, if our friend Rutledge Wood was a racetrack, he'd be a couple pit stalls short of a full 43. We know that for sure. But he does have a good time here at the racetrack. He knows we love him, and because we kid him, he knows we love him. We must really love him a lot. But now he has the fun of interviewing all the big stars that come out to the racetrack. So what do you got now, Rutledge?
Thanks, John. You know, we're really lucky to get some great celebrities that come down and participate. Today's Grand Marshal is a guy I'm a huge fan of, Ryan Reynolds. Welcome to Pocono.
Thank you very much. It's fantastic to be here. Amazing.
Did this look like what you expected?
Nothing like I expected. I had no idea what to expect, in fact. I mean, walking down here and checking out this is, I guess the only thing you really call it is a circus. I mean, it was unbelievable. I don't know how this pops up in a day and a half. I mean, it's unreal.
Now, tons of people know you've been in lots and lots of movies. Van Wilder, Waiting, definitely Maybe, which if there's a guy that caught a dry eye, you're lying. That's a great movie. Yeah, but there's a restaurant called Shenanigans, like 5 minutes down the road. I thought at first that's what got you here.
No, and I don't recommend it.
It's good. This one's better than the one you worked at in Waiting.
I didn't venture in, so I wouldn't know.
I saw that movie, so that's why I didn't order anything. Now, you're here talking about your new movie, The Proposal, with you and Sandra Bullock. Was that a good time making that?
Fantastic time. Sandra's obviously an amazing actress. She's someone I've known for about 9 years, so we got to do this really, really funny movie together, and we just had a ball the whole time, and you can see it on screen in every second.
So I'm ready for that, but I have to ask, since you did The Proposal and you're a newlywed, how did you propose to your wife?
You think I'm going to stand here and give away my technique to America?
Well, I mean, you married
no.
Scarlett Johansson. I feel like the bar had to have been high.
Well, you know, the whole thing was a real blur. Probably a lot like an exciting event like NASCAR here. You know, there was fire trucks, a ninja, a toothless clown. It was an extravaganza, to say the least. It was go big or go home.
I hope you see some of that same stuff here today. We're so glad you could be here. John, Ryan Reynolds taking over. It's going to be a good day.
Rutledge, thanks a lot. Now, it's very hard to find a racetrack where Jimmy Johnson and Chad Knaus don't do well, but here in Pocono, out of 13 starts, they have 6 top 10s and 2 victories. So who better to go to for our pit strategy of the week from Sunoco than crew chief Chad Knaus?
Okay guys, here we are in Pocono, one of my favorite racetracks. Now you have to realize we've got 3 completely different corners and 3 completely different straightaways, so you have to mix up all of the things you need to get a good race car. You have to have aerodynamics, you have to have mechanical grip, and most importantly, you have to have horsepower. Now a lot of guys will run this race like a road course, working from the end of the race on your pit strategy all the way back. Now you can go about 33 laps on a snow-cold fuel run, but what's really going to be interesting now is the way they're working the double file restarts. It's going to be a little bit different. You can actually pit now, go a lap down, and if the caution happens to come out, when the leaders pit, you can stay out on the racetrack. If you stay out, you get to transfer past those guys, and then with 1 lap to go, NASCAR is going to let you pass the caution car. Go all the way around the racetrack and start the tail end lead lap. It's going to add a new element to everything that's going on here. And I'll tell you what, there's an awful lot going on here today, guys, so you better pay attention.
And that we will, Chad. You know, it's the 5th year of the Sunoco Free Fuel 5000 exclusively at Sunoco. It's easy to participate. Simply visit any participating Sunoco station, pick up a free Sunoco decal, put it in a prominent location on your car, and visit our stations on a regular basis for a chance to be spotted. For more information, go Sunoco.com, and we'll be back with more information about racing at Pocono in a moment. Welcome back, everyone, to NASCAR Race Day, built by the Home Depot. We're live from Long Pond, Pennsylvania, home of the Pocono Raceway. And Friday was a complete washout, but the Sprint Cup Series stars are ready for 500 miles of white-knuckle racing. We'll see how things shake out on one of the toughest tracks in NASCAR. Double-file restart, shootout style, are the big story here at Pocono. We'll see how that pans out this afternoon. And 2008 Pocono winners Kasey Kahne and Carl Edwards are looking for repeat wins at this track. Now, Tony Stewart is leading the points for the first time since 2005, but he'll start shotgun on the field after a spin in practice forced him to a backup car. It is going to be very interesting to see the smoke work his way back up through the field because he's got 500 miles to do it. Now let's take a look at the championship standings and the top 20. Let's start out with Tony Stewart, 46 ahead of Jeff Gordon, and this also happens to be the way we will line up.
3 Hendricks cars, 1, 2, 3, Kurt Busch. The big story here wasn't a factor last year. Newman came 5th. What a story for Haas Racing.
Denny Hamlin has had success at this racetrack before, and Matt Kenseth, of course, your Daytona 500 champion. The Biff, Jeff Burton, Edwards, and Mark Martin are the last guys who are in now.
50-year-old Mark Martin has a shot at winning the championship at 50 years old.
Gotta love that, but look at all the young guns that are chasing Mark Martin right now. David Rudiman just 31 back.
Heavy names here, Johnny. Kasey Kahne won, Pablo Clint Boyer second in the points earlier in the year, all the way back to 16th.
And Junior!
Big story. This is it, guys. They're racing for that 12th position for this championship.
And we are halfway there, but speaking of heavy hitters, it is now time for us to go down to the Advance Auto Parts cutaway car for the Texplanation with Hermie Sadler. Take it away, Herm.
Well, thank you, JR. And listen, this is a right front spring. 10 years ago, about a 1,200-pound right front spring, we would find this in these cars at Pocono. The car would go off into the corner. This spring would compress to hold that car off the racetrack. The problem is, when they get off the corner onto the straightaway, as this spring rebounded, it would bring this valence back up off the racetrack and cause the car to slow down. Well, what we've migrated to now, we hear it all the time. This is now a right front spring here at Pocono. This spring is so soft, it actually is compressed all the way around the racetrack, so it brings in the shocks. We talk about bump stops. These cars run actually on the bump stops all the way around the racetrack. If you want to adjust it, you pop on a bump stop depending on how much you want to get the car off the ground. But what you may not have known is that there are several different combinations of bump stops on these cars. Some teams run bump stops on both front springs, both front shocks, to keep the whole car down. Depending on the driver feel, some guys will put a bump stop on the left front and leave the right front alone. That'll let the car dip over a little bit and maybe dig a little bit on the right front. Some drivers don't like the car rolling over on the right front, so they'll put the bump stop shock on the right front and leave the left front open. So that'll keep the car a little bit flatter for driver preference. So we've heard bump stops, we know we're using soft springs, but there are different combinations, some on both, some on the left, some on the right. Depends on what the driver wants and what enables him to go fast here at Pocono. JR?
Hermie, thanks a lot, and that's exactly what we want to do today is go fast out there and get a big trophy. If you want to learn more about this COT car, go to the Advanced Auto Parts virtual cutaway car at speedtv.com. Now, drivers, let's get strapped in. Let's go for a hot lap around this big old track where they just, I guess they forgot about Turn 4 back in the day. Was it an oversight?
Well, this is definitely the Mattiolis have designed this track, and he wanted the longest straightaway in NASCAR. We're on it right here, fans. This is the longest straightaway in all of NASCAR sports. Heading into turn 1, we heard Hermie say, you either stay on the bottom, you stay on the top. A lot of options. The key here, get as much speed as you can. Another pretty daggone long straightaway, but I'm agreeing with Hermie on this. This is the most critical part of the racetrack coming up here, Kenny, on the tunnel turn.
The tunnel turn is legendary. Listen to the throttle. You let off a little bit. You try to get back in it as quick as you can. Here comes the passing corner. This is the corner, turn 3. You hear him letting off. Now he's running high. The reason he's running high is because that is where the new asphalt is. We beg you to pay attention to that today in the telecast. Gives him a good run through the back straightaway. But one thing I want to point out, Jimmy Spencer, that back straightaway, some 20 years ago, Neil Bonnet came off a turn 2 and smacked a deer, and a deer was stuck in the grill of his racetrack. Since then, he put a big 12-foot fence back there, and Spence, the deer and the animals cannot get on the racetrack no more.
I was racing this track with Kyle Petty, Davey Allison, and myself driving for the Bobby Allison team, and a fan ran across.
Hey,
only in Pocono will that happen.
You mean a person?
A person. As Scooter Brown.
You can put a fence up to stop the deer, but you can't stop the race fans if they want. We don't condone that, though, by any means. Please do not run across the racetrack.
Oh, please.
Well, we want to give a big congratulations out to Joey Logano as he won the ARCA REMAX Series race yesterday, and he has definitely been picking up his performance on the Nationwide Series and the Cup Series as well.
And, you know, this is the first time Joey has been to Pocono and, you know, rode around with Denny Hamlin, had a lot of success, and the Ventrinis win this race in the number 25, so that's not an unfamiliar number. Bill Ventrini and his son own that car. Wendy's
What about Wendy? I thought Wendy was the owner of that team.
Wendy doesn't own that car.
Hey, can I say something?
Crew chiefs it, though.
I had to get a dig into it.
In all seriousness, Joey Logano has rose to the occasion. Good job, Joey.
When we come back to NASCAR Race Day, built by the Home Depot, we will take you inside of what's going to be perhaps one of the most important drivers' meetings of the year. So stick around, everybody. Well, you can make it a weekend of fun with family and friends at Michigan International Speedway. Sprint Cup tickets start at $40 and kids under 12 are free. Call 800-354-1010 or go to MISSpeedway.com for the June 14th LifeLock 400 at Michigan International Speedway. And we're set to usher in a new era here today at Pocono and carry it on to Michigan. Double file restart, shootout style, are coming to NASCAR's Top Series and soon to the Nationwide and the Camping World Series as well. For more on the drivers' meeting surrounding this, let's go to Wendy Venturini.
Well, thank you, John. If it seems like I'm whispering, it's because I am. The drivers' meeting is still going on right behind me. It's taking a little bit longer today. There's been a lot of questions by the drivers regarding the double file restart shootout style. One of the first questions asked was by Kyle. At what point does the leader's choice, if you're the leader, do you choose the inside lane or the outside lane to restart? And that answer was given. It's going to be at the start-finish line. Jeff Gordon asked questions. Michael Waltrip also asking questions was Elliott Sadler regarding the wave-around cars. At what point do they choose and wave around? And that answer was also given. Turn 3, the wave-around cars will get waved around. They'll pass the caution car on the right-hand side at the start-finish line. So a lot of things happening at that start-finish line. You're going to have to watch that in the race today in Pocono. Johnny?
Okay, Wendy, thanks a lot. We appreciate it.
Thanks.
Oh, wait, I'm not be loud out here, do I? I can be loud out here.
I don't know how to whisper.
That's for sure. Another quick break. When we come back, we're going to get you down to where it's all going on. We'll go back to Wendy and Hermie and have some final thoughts and also fantasy picks. We'll see who we think is going to win this thing.
NASCAR Race Day is built by the Home Depot. Visit homedepot.com. More saving, more doing. That's the power of the Home Depot. Brought to you in part by Victory, the new American motorcycle, and by Go RVing. Visit GoRVing.com for a free video. What will you discover? Go RVing.
You know, here on NASCAR Race Day, built by the Home Depot, Kenny Wallace is our spiritual leader, our moral leader, and now he is our fantasy standing leader by 128 over two-time defending champion Wendy Venturini. Hermie's close behind. Well, not too close behind. And the rest of us, well, we got trouble. We're just hoping for the chase.
That was a good year, 1934.
That's when you were born. Jimmy Spencer was born in 1934. But do you know what? This Thursday at Macon Speedway in Macon, Illinois, we got Tony Stewart and Mark Martin. Now that I got that out of the way.
Are you going to pick either of those guys?
Guess who I'm going to pick to win this race?
Well, we'd like to find out.
Here's who I'm going to pick to win this race today. It's a guy that does this. I do the roll, baby, but he does the flip.
He doesn't do anything near what you just did.
Columbia, Missouri! From Columbia, Missouri, Carl
Edwards! If he did that, Kenny, Wendy, save us.
That's a 46-year-old roll.
Oh, my goodness. Kenny.
What,
Kenny,
Wendy? Hi, Wendy.
You are just not right.
I love you, Wendy.
We agree.
All right, who am I going with today? Well, the guy hasn't had a top 10 in the last 5 races, but I'm going with him anyways. Denny Hamlin, who has swept Pocono in the past. I think he's going to turn his luck around, get to victory lane, get me a victory, and I can pass Kenny Wallace so he can't do any more somersaults because that's just scary. Hermie Sadler.
It appears to me that Kenny Wallace is doing a little bit too much gloating. So what we say in Emporia, Virginia is I'm about to get serious about this fantasy racing pick. And so another serious guy in the garage is Ryan Newman, top 5s in 4 out of the last 5 races. I'm picking him. I might do a backflip myself or a roll or a tumble or whatever it is. JR?
No gymnastics necessary. I can't believe you guys are allowing this guy to slip all the way down through the rankings. Of course Jimmy Johnson's going to win this thing. He always goes back-to-back when he wins. 50% of the time he races here, he finishes in the top 5, and he just won at Dover last weekend. Jimmy Johnson from El Cajon, California, is going to win this thing.
You know, this guy drives my favorite candy. There's no question about it. He's the only guy with 3 wins, the most this year. He's got 789 laps left, and everybody should know who it is.
Hey, you mean
the Rocket Man, Kyle Busch.
Hey, but Jimmy, earlier in the show, you were ragging Kyle out to no end. Are you sucking up now?
Oh, I'm not sucking up. He was wrong for what he done. Don't forget, we have a show called Victory Lane. I will thump him to the ground if he destroys this Pocono trophy. So I'm going to teach Kyle Busch not to do that, respect the trophies, because I respect Kyle Busch. I think he's one of the best drivers.
Going with the 11. Hermie Sadler has the Rocket Man Ryan Newman. JR's probably going to win this thing, but Jimmy Spencer now has the 18 and kind of a make-good pick, I think. Let's now get it back to Hermie Sadler.
Well, we want to catch up with Casey Mears real quick. A long driver's meeting. Tell us about some of the questions you guys had.
Well, I mean, they're just going through a lot of the different scenarios right now. I can't even think of them all in my head right now, but everybody just trying to get a good handle on what's going on. Obviously, you don't want to make a mistake with a new rule like that and it be a disadvantage to you. So I'm kind of leaving that up to Todd and them guys to get all the good info, and you know, hopefully we can have the Jack Daniels Chevrolet in right position today.
And real quick, what is your personal thought on the double file restart shootout style?
I think it's great. I mean, I think it's obviously going to be more exciting for the fans. I think that it gives a guy that's sitting in 10th an opportunity to be 10th and not be 20th, you know, when you have all the lap down guys on the inside. And, you know, I think great for good racing and exciting, you know, for the fans.
Casey Mears in the Jack Daniels Chevy, 2 top 10s in the last 4 races. Wendy?
Breaking news from the garage. Mikey Waltrip's Twitter account is blowing up. That's what Mikey Waltrip just told me. He headed that way real quick before we can catch him on the air. But he did say, Kenny Wallace, he's mad at you because he didn't get a text message with your new phone number. I wonder why.
No, I'm going to feel him out a little bit. I'm going to make sure I got him right where I want him. Then I will give him my new phone number, but not yet.
All right, so what do you think about the race today, guys? What's going to happen? What are we going to see? The double file restarts.
Pocono, there'll be a tremendous amount of passengers.
We want to say a special thank you to all the drivers who stopped by to talk to us, and a special thanks to Kasey Kahne and Mike Helton, who joined us out on the Home Depot stage today. And I'm not too sure what to say about that, so what we're going to say right now is thanks for coming along for the ride, everybody here at Pocono and at home, and we'll see you tonight in Victory Lane.